You're a kid on an island nobody remembers the name of, and your body is already wrong. Too big, too heavy, too strange. You break the other children's toys just by holding them. You break beds just by sleeping in them. Grown men look at you like you're a monster wearing a child's face. Nobody picks you for their crew, nobody picks you for anything. Then one day you hear a story about a devil fruit that doesn't grant power. It swallows it. It eats every other power whole and leaves nothing behind but darkness. You decide right then, at an age too young to understand what obsession even is, that you're going to find it. You're going to become the thing that everyone else is afraid of. On purpose. Here's what nobody tells you about becoming Blackbeard. You're 7, maybe 8. Nobody's ever been precise about your birthday, least of all you. And you already know you don't fit. Not metaphorically. Literally. Your shoulders are too wide for the doorway of the hut you sleep in. Your hands, when you make a fist, look like they belong to somebody else's father. The other kids on the island whisper when you walk past, not because they're cruel, but because they're scared. And scared kids whisper instead of scream. You've broken 3 beds this year alone. Not from throwing tantrums, you're not even trying. You just roll over in your sleep, and the wooden frame gives out beneath you like it's made of wet paper. Your mother stopped buying new beds. Now you sleep on a stack of hay and canvas that she calls the pallet. Like giving it a name makes the humiliation smaller. You remember the day the traveling storyteller came through, an old man with a missing eye and a coat that smelled like 3 different oceans. He gathered the children around a fire and told them about devil fruits. Fruits that could turn a man into rubber, into smoke, into fire itself. Kids gasped, kids clapped, then he lowered his voice and said the word that changed your entire life. Yummy yummy no mi. The dark, dark fruit. Not a fruit that gives you a power, he said. A fruit that takes power. Any devil fruit ability brought close enough to the darkness gets swallowed, nullified, erased like it never existed. The single most dangerous fruit ever recorded, precisely because it doesn't add anything to the world, it subtracts. The other kids thought it sounded boring. No flashy trick, no cool animal transformation, just darkness. You didn't think it was boring, you thought it sounded like you. Something too big, too heavy, that swallows whatever's near it and leaves nothing behind. For the first time in your life, a story felt like a mirror. You didn't tell anyone. You just filed it away, the way you file away every slight, every whispered insult, every door too small for your shoulders. You start a private list in your head. Things I will have someday. At the top of that list, in letters only you can read, the darkness. Years pass. You grow bigger if that's even possible. Your reputation on the island calcifies into something between legend and warning. The boy who broke his own crib as an infant, they say. Exaggerating, but not by as much as you'd like. You start picking fights, not because you're angry, but because you're testing the ceiling of what your body can do. You lose some, you win more, and eventually it reaches the ears of men who collect strong bodies, the way other men collect gold. You're 17 when a Whitebeard pirate ship anchors near your island for repairs, and you walk up the gangplank before anyone invites you. Whitebeard's crew is the closest thing to family the world's ever handed you, and you know from the first night that you're going to burn it down eventually. Not out of hatred. That's the part nobody understands. You don't hate these men. You watch the division commanders drink together, arm wrestle, share stitched-together stories about storms they survived and enemies they buried, and something in your chest that you don't have a name for actually aches. This is what having people feels like. You could get used to this, but you don't let yourself. Because you already know Whitebeard doesn't have the fruit you want. His power is the Gura Gura no Mi, quakes that can crack the sky itself. Terrifying, yes, but it's not darkness. It's not the thing on your list. So instead of chasing him, you do something colder. You wait. You become a model crewman. You laugh at the right jokes. You pull your weight in every fight. You let Thatch, the 4th Division commander, become something like a friend, because Thatch is kind to you in a way almost nobody has been, and letting that closeness exist costs you nothing yet. At 14, you'd already stood shoulder to shoulder with this crew against the Roger Pirates. 3 days and 3 nights of brutal clashing that somehow, impossibly, ended not in slaughter, but in something like mutual respect. Gifts exchanged between crews that should have killed each other. You remember standing in the wreckage afterward, adrenaline still roaring in your ears, watching legends shake hands and thinking, this is what real power looks like. Power so absolute it doesn't need to keep proving itself. You want that. You want it so badly it feels like a second heartbeat. Ace joins the crew a few years later, brash and burning and haunted by a father's name he never chose. And you two get along in the specific way that 2 people get along when neither of them has ever really been chosen by anyone before. He talks about ambition like it's oxygen. You nod along and think, you have no idea what ambition actually costs. You're offered a commander position once, and you turn it down flat. I don't have that kind of ambition, you say. And everyone believes you because you say it so easily, so convincingly that even you almost believe it in the moment. It's the best lie you ever tell. Ambition isn't something you're missing, it's something you're hiding, the way you'd hide a knife behind your back at a dinner party, waiting for dessert. Then, one ordinary evening, in the ship's library of collected oddities and encyclopedias, you find it. A tucked-away entry in a devil fruit reference book. A description, a location, a rumor of where the Yami Yami no Mi might currently be hidden. Your hands shake reading it, the first time they've shaken since you were 7 years old. You close the book slowly, you put it back exactly where you found it. You go to bed that night beside men who trust you completely, and you sleep better than you have in years because for the first time, the ending is in sight. The night everything breaks, it's quiet. That's what people never expect. They imagine thunder, a duel, a declaration. It's not like that. It's a galley at night, a friend's back turned, and a decision you made years before your hand ever moved. Thatch found the fruit first, pure accident. He stumbled onto the Yami Yami no Mi hidden in a locked room, found it without even fully understanding what it was, because that's how devil fruits work, first come first served, no undo button. When you hear the news, something in your chest goes perfectly, terribly still. Years of patience, and someone else just swallowed your entire future by accident. You corner him that night. Not with rage, with the calm of a man closing a very old ledger. Thatch doesn't even have time to understand what's happening to him. That's the mercy you allow yourself. It's fast, it's final, and when it's done, you stand in that room holding the thing you wanted since you were a boy who broke beds and doorways, and you feel the darkness answer your call for the very first time. It doesn't warm you, it doesn't fill the ache, it just consumes light, sound, hope in a widening circle around your own body, exactly like you always suspected it would. You run. Of course you run. Whitebeard's crew doesn't forgive this, ever, and they shouldn't. Ace hunts you personally across the Grand Line for what happened to Thatch, burning with a fury that used to be reserved for enemies, now aimed squarely at the man he thought was his friend. You almost respect him for it. You almost feel something when you finally have to fight him. When Ace's flames roar against your borrowed shadows and you win, not through skill exactly, but through the simple mathematics of your power cancelling his. You hand Ace to the Marines like a trophy because a warlord seat is currency, and you've learned that admiration, alliances, even friendship, are just currency now too. You become a warlord of the sea. You resign it just as quickly the instant it stops being useful, walking straight into Marineford during the biggest war the world has seen in decades. Not to fight for either side, but to take what the chaos leaves lying around. Whitebeard falls. In the wreckage of that battlefield, you claim his Gura Gura no Mi too, becoming the only man in history to hold two devil fruits in one body. Darkness and earthquake wrapped around a single unrepentant heart. You conquer what's left of Whitebeard's territory during the 2 years that follow, piece by piece, island by island, recruiting monsters out of Impel Down's deepest levels, because ordinary men are no longer enough of an army for what you're building. And when the dust settles, the world has no choice but to call you what you always knew you'd become: an Emperor of the Sea. Here's what nobody tells you about finally getting everything you wanted. It doesn't fill the hole. It just gets bigger right alongside you. You command a crew now that isn't held together by loyalty. It's held together by shared hunger. Misfits and criminals who understand power as the only real currency, exactly like you decided it was years ago, watching Ace talk about ambition like it was oxygen. Your ship is full of monsters. None of them are your friends. You made sure of that a long time ago, back when you decided that hearts are terrible investments and admiration is the only safe currency. You still think about Thatch sometimes. Not with guilt, exactly. You buried guilt a long time ago in the same room you buried the boy who used to ache at the sight of men drinking together like family. But you think about him the way you think about a doorway you outgrew. Necessary, inevitable, small. You think about Ace more. His fire, his fury, the way he looked at you like a betrayal made flesh. Right before you ended his freedom and started the chain of events that would eventually end his life at Marineford. Not by your hand exactly, but you set the pieces on the board, and you've never once pretended otherwise. Your bounty climbs into numbers that used to only exist for legends. Billions. Your name becomes something parents used to quiet their children, the same way that old storytellers' tales once quieted you. You keep hunting more devil fruits, a body built to hold power that was never meant to share a single vessel. Some part of you, the part that used to sleep on a hay pallet because you broke every bed they gave you, understands exactly why. If you can hold everything, nothing can ever again tell you that you don't fit. Somewhere out on the Grand Line, a boy in a straw hat is chasing a dream that has nothing to do with power for power's sake. Chasing freedom, chasing crew, chasing something you decided a long time ago wasn't safe to want. You watch him sometimes from a distance, the way a much older animal watches a much younger one and recognizes the shape of ambition without recognizing the shape of hope. He'll come for you eventually. Everyone does, and you're not running from it. You're an emperor now. Running isn't something emperors do. You think sometimes, late at night on a ship full of men who fear you more than they respect you, about that 7-year-old who broke beds and doorways and didn't fit anywhere in the world he was born into. He built an empire out of the one thing he was never allowed to have, a place where being too much wasn't a flaw. It was the entire qualification. We did all right, you tell him, across all those years, even if all right looks like darkness wrapped around your own beating heart. There's a lot more of this world worth living inside of, a lot more decks to stand on, a lot more crews to wear like a second skin. Subscribe because we're only just getting started.